Okay guys, welcome. Today we're going to discuss fabrication to BIM360 Workflow. What we're going to do is we're going to take a file from CAD MEP and we're going to prep it for spooling. We're going to push that into Glue, where we could then do clash reporting, clash detection, and then ultimately push the glue model into Field so that we can map the equipment. And then finally what we're going to do is we're going to attach checklists and issues and other such things in BIM360 Field to our equipment in our model. And so then at the very end, we'll show you the interconnectivity between Fab, Glue, and Field. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to prep our file for spooling. So what you can see right now is that all pieces they're all unique pieces in our model. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to go to the add-ins and we're going to go to our prep for spool add-in that we've created. We're going to hit the prep for spool button. So you can see that none of it's spooled right now, so we're just going to group. So while it's doing that, we're grouping it so that each spool own block. You can see based on color that those are the pieces that are a spool. That's what those all represent. So now you can see that those pieces are all one spool, like each spool is its own block. And so you can also see that the attributes like the spool name, the status, the service, weight, material, length, cost, and the fabrication type are all taken into account and they're added into that specific block. And that's going to help us later on because we'll be able to track all of that stuff moving forward. If there were other attributes that you wanted to track, then you could, of course, track those as well. So now, once we've got it prepped, all we're going to do is just glue our model. Okay, so once we've opened up our model in Glue, we can do all sorts of things. We can add merged models, we can do some coordination, and we can assign issues to our teammates. And then once we've got coordination done, we're going to actually prepare our model for BIM360 Field. And so this is exactly what I'm going to show you. So what we're going to do here is we are going to create equipment sets of our spools. We're going to take that information that we had in our attributes from our blocks from the Fab Prep for Spool tool, and we're going to create an equipment set off that. So you can think of an equipment set as basically a search set in Navisworks. It's the exact same thing. So all you do is you right click on the item that you want to create an equipment set on in Glue, and then you bring up the properties, and so then you find the attributes. So as you can see, we've got the attributes here. And now I want to create a spool equipment set, so I just right clicked on spool and hit create equipment set. Once we've created our equipment set, we're going to share our model with BIM360 Field. And that's going to allow us to track all of our assets, and in this case spools, in BIM360 Field. So we'll be able to attach checklists and issues, tasks, photos, submittal data, and any other attachments that we want to track. And we'll be able to tie that back to our model. So another thing that you can do is you can customize the types of equipment that you're viewing. And in this case, we've got spools, we've got plumbing, mechanical, but looking at spools specifically here. You can also customize the statuses of your equipment so that it fits your workflow. And so that's what I've done here. We've got 5 status workflow here. And then you can also customize sign-off capabilities, or you could even add custom properties if you guys wanted to track specific things. So now all that we're going to do is just attach our model from Glue to Field. We're going to take our equipment set that we created, which was the spools equipment set, and we're going to tie that set to the equipment type in BIM360. And we're going to do that using GUID. Now, what we're also going to do is we're going to tie the attributes that we created in Fabrication CAD MEP to BIM360 field. So that's what you're seeing me do right now. I am adding the cost, the length, the weight, and then the spool name, and I'm attaching them to a field in BIM360 field. So the name is going to be the spool name, the weight is going to be the weight, the cost, etc., etc. You could have as many of these come from your model into field as you want. Totally fully customizable. If you've got any data that's in your model that you want to move over into field, you can do that. So now what I'm doing is I'm actually telling field that I want certain data to pass back into glue so that I can view it in the model. So I want to see the status of my equipment. I want to see any open issues, checklists, attachments, etc. And I want to see all that in my model. And I just want to see the final sign off to make sure that all my equipment's on there. So I'm going to also actually put that in there. So this is going to help you because basically, you're pushing data to and from field and glue, and it's being saved in both places. So what you see in field is also what you're going to see in glue and vice versa. So once we've mapped it, we're just going to check and make sure that everything went successfully. So we're going to actually go into the front end of field and take a look at that. Right now you can see there's been 41 items that have been created. They're all named exactly how I wanted them. I'm just going to take a look at them. Okay, so now all that I'm doing is I'm just going to go through, make sure that all the data that I wanted in there is in there. I'm going to attach any tasks or checklists or even attachments like a cut sheet or submittals, any of that data that I needed to add, I could do that right now. So once we've gotten everything the way that we liked it, everything attached to our pieces of equipment, we can actually go out into the field and start collecting data on our assets or our spools. Our workflow, or the sample workflow that I've created, is you're going to want to track delivery, ready to ship, installation, and then commissioning and final sign off. I just opened my iPad, and so what you can see is using the equipment module, you can just select one spool, you can see the details about it, any checklists that are attached, any issues that are associated with it, any attachments. So right here you can see cut sheet for that specific spool. Any signatures that have happened, you can see nothing has been signed off yet. And then any tasks that are assigned to this project, to this piece of equipment. You can even view piece of equipment in the model so you know exactly what you're looking at. Is making sure that this is what you want. So you can compare the cut sheet to the model, you can view anything else associated with it. So basically you've got everything in your hands. You've got your model, you've got every piece of data that you're going to need for this spool right there in the palm of your hands. We're just going to go through a sample checklist here. So I'm just going to fill out a delivery verification checklist. It's a really quick one. You're going to see it's only about 6. It's actually 4 items long. So your guys are already doing this in the field. This is just automating the process and making it digitized so that it's all in one place. So you just tap on the screen, and as you can see, yes, no. When I hit no, you can actually see over there to the left an issue was created, and that issue says that the spool was damaged in transit. I could go and I could take a picture of that issue, or I could do, or I could just close out my checklist here if I wanted to. So right now, that's actually what I'm doing is I'm taking a picture. So you'll see you could take one, or I've already taken one, so I'm going to actually go and attach that picture of the spool from my photo library. Another thing that you can do is, let's say your checklist was approved, you can actually sign off using your finger on your iPad just like that. And so that said that you're done right there. So once we sync, then we can come back into BIM360 and we can look at the data that we collected out in the field. So right here we've worked on number 12, and so we can see that the status has changed to tested. There's 2 checklists that have been created with it. The first test has been signed off on. You can see any issues that are logged with it, any tasks that have been created or finished. The signature, you can actually see I've signed off on it right here, so we know that we're ready for testing. Everything came in from our iPad. Now we can also see that all the data that we pushed to connect into our glue model, we can also do that. So all we're going to do is just hit View Properties again. Then you can see now that new Equipment tab has shown up there. And so you click on that and you can also see the same thing. There's 2 new checklists, 2 open checklists. Final sign off is not done, but the status is done with tested. Okay guys, that's it. So thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, Michael Reuter at Applied Software. You can see all my information right there on the screen.